Planet Vero Studio is powered by the Nolan Group of eXp Realty. MyNextHomeFinder.com.
Treasure Coast Connector. Connecting residents and businesses of the Treasure Coast. And here's your host, Ellen Contreras.
Well, welcome to Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras. My company by the same name is one of the show's sponsors. We help business owners to create awareness of their products and services in the marketplace through lead generation, social media marketing, advertising, PR, articles in the news, video production. All the details are on the website, www.tcconnector.com, or call 772-925-4557. Treasure Coast Connector, the show, puts a spotlight on local business people because everyone has an interesting story of why they do what they do. When we learn about them and do business locally, it strengthens the local economy. Planning ahead is important when we want to save time and money and even heartbreak. And today we're going to learn some important lessons and get some really good information about planning ahead as it relates to our health and finances. Normally we think about this as we get older, but it's really important to get our ducks in a row when we're young as well. Joining me in the studio today is Wesley Harvin, and he is the president and attorney of the Estate Trust and Elder Law Firm serving the Treasure Coast, and he's got a lot to share with us today. So welcome to the show, Wes.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Yeah, very happy to have you here. And so we have a lot to discuss, so we'll get right into it. Before we start talking about your firm and the different ways that you help people, what made you want to become an attorney?
My dad was an attorney. And in kindergarten, we had a career day, and I said I wanted to be a lawyer, even though I spelled it wrong at the time.
Oh.
And I always enjoyed watching him work. I remember when I was a kid, he would bring home sometimes chickens or sugar cane instead of fees to help people that needed it at the time.
That's nice.
And I hope I'm still doing that.
Mm-hmm. Well, very good. So now when we talk about, before we start talking about the different services, Lisa Jensen and I were at a networking event, and she is your outreach, community liaison. And
Absolutely.
She does a great job. So we're sitting around this table. She's sharing a story about a 19-year-old that unfortunately had an accident and became incapacitated, was just knocked out. So now the parents are at the hospital. Now, and this is an age where they're no longer a child, they're no longer a minor, but they're still considered by the parents like a child, right?
Sure.
And they were not only shocked, but horrified that they were not allowed to be told information about their son.
That is true.
Let's talk about this, because this is a very important thing about it should be thought of at all ages. What do we do in this instance when we plan for something that we hope never happens?
That's exactly the best thing to do, and I tell my clients sometimes, I hope everything we do here is useless. I hope you never need anything that we do.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you never need a will.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you never need a power of attorney or a healthcare surrogate, which would have been useful here, especially for a child.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a document that allows someone else to be privy to your healthcare information and to make healthcare decisions for you if you cannot do so for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always a good thing to have and hope you never need.
Okay. And is this a hard thing to set up?
Not hard at all. Easy as pie. If you go to an estate planning or elder law attorney,
mm-hmm.
there are several decision points that you'll sit down with your attorney and you'll discuss. The first one of which being, who do I trust to be my healthcare surrogate?
Yeah.
Who do I think understands the way I think, I feel? Who could I count on to make a decision that might not be popular with other members of my family?
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have to be a family member. Sometimes clients say, I want my my longtime neighbor, or I even want my CPA I've had for 30 years.
Okay.
That's okay. If you trust them, we put them in, and now you're covered.
Very nice. Actually, that's not necessarily a bad idea if you have a long-standing relationship with someone who might not be as emotionally embroiled in a situation like a parent would about a child or a husband with a wife or vice versa.
Yeah, very, very true.
Okay. That's something that I didn't even think about. So that's good to know because I didn't realize that you could do that. Now, I just learned something.
That's right. That's right.
So now another thing that we think about, like what should we do, shouldn't we do when it comes to long-term care? So this is your opportunity because I'm sure you have been through the shoulda, coulda, wouldas with clients.
Sure.
What is some advice that you could give that you have seen that you wish people didn't do and maybe what they should consider doing?
Oh boy. Well, there's no such thing as looking at it too early.
Okay.
The earlier you look at these things, the better. And for clients that are in their, maybe the early part of their family life, I like to recommend that they look at long-term care insurance, which is exactly that, a policy that can help pay for long-term care needs. Is it a silver bullet that's going to solve everything? No, but it sure can help.
Mm-hmm.
If maybe the client's a little bit further along their life path, then we start to look at what their resources are compared to the incredible expense that can come from an institutionalized care. Easily $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And how many people can support that for the next 20 years?
Yeah.
Not a lot of us.
Mm-hmm.
But there are other options out there. There are state funding options like through the VA in some cases, or in other cases through Medicaid.
Okay.
Where people can use the program with the exceptions that it has already built into it. And sometimes we can find a way to preserve a lot of their wealth for the family and still have the state help to a great extent with their ongoing long-term care.
That's interesting. I kind of thought it was all or nothing. I thought Medicaid only came into play when everything else has been exhausted.
That is a very important point that I wish more people knew. That is not the case. And with even a little bit of lead time, a little bit of forethought and planning ahead, we can oftentimes do real wonders for the family.
Mm-hmm.
Keep more for them than they ever thought that they could.
Very nice. Very nice. So now, at what age do you think, okay, because you know what, I was going to ask about trusts, but I was going to do that after the commercial break, but I think we can start talking about it before and then maybe even if we need to after. Trusts.
Sure.
There's a lot of different trusts out there.
That's right.
The average person, it's like a maze and they get all confused.
Sure.
And then they think about when do they put one into place? Which one do they put into place? But then what happens if, let's say it's a young man and woman, a husband and wife in their mid-30s. I'm just thinking about my parents. They had a business together, right? So you have someone in their mid-30s and they have a nice business that they're really growing. It's going well. They have some kids, okay?
Right.
And then they want to think about setting something up for the future with trusts. But then things happen as we get older. People pass. There's, people get divorced. There's blended families. Maybe there's a new influx of wealth that comes into play later on. So what happens with the world of trusts when someone sets something up? And then what happens if something needs to be changed? That's a long question. And it's going to take a little while. So I'm just going to let you have at it.
All right. Well, starting with the beginning then, in the earlier stages where you have little ones still, one of the most important things we do with the trust is determine who is going to help them if, Lord forbid, something happens to both the parents, who's going to take care of the kids and monitor their finances for them. Mm-hmm. And this can be very, very flexible. A trust can have almost any provision that a parent wants in there. I've done trusts that say that a child's not going to take any money until they get a 4-year degree. I've done trusts that say no matter what the child qualifications are, they're not going to get anything until they turn 35. I've done trusts that give millions of dollars to an 18-year-old. It's very specific to the family, which is what it should be. The mom and dad can have a great deal of control into what their family legacy turns out to be.
Okay.
If there's a small business involved, a trust can definitely help there. I just did a family the other day where the mother and father owned a successful business, and if both of them should have passed, it would have just turned into nothing. Well, we were able to set up what's called a business succession plan, where the key employees were able to buy life insurance on the parents. If there should be a passing, the life insurance would have paid off the full value of the corporation, preserving its full value for the minor children, and letting the employees go on with the business, keep it in good hands and keep it going. That seemed to be important to everyone, as it often is to a business owner.
Okay.
Those are some of the high points for sort of younger families.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We get a little bit, again, further down the life path, and now, sometimes we have families with special needs, individuals with special needs, and the right kind of trust can have the provisions in there to make sure that somebody who has special needs can still receive the full range of state and federal services without having their inheritance reduced.
Nice. Okay.
But that money is there in case someone needs extra help, extra therapy, extra this, extra that. We can make sure that they have all the options that they still have.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you know what we're going to do? We're going to just take a quick break. We have to take a quick 2-minute commercial break. But we're going to talk more about the trusts when we get back, because I think that's like a sticking point with a lot of families sometimes. Right. So stay tuned, because Wes Harvin of the Estate Trust and Elder Law Firm has a lot more to say. We'll be right back.
Boom is back. Boom on the Lagoon. A day of music, fun, and fireworks. Presented by Mulligan's Beach House and Dale Sorensen Real Estate. The fun starts at 5 o'clock on the 4th of July at Riverside Park in Vero Beach, with music by Johnny and the Blaze, food trucks, and contests galore. Brought to you by the City of Vero Beach, Indian River County, A Better Solution Insurance, C.W. Willis Family Farms, and Evergreen Media. Boom on the Lagoon. The 4th of July fireworks celebration at Riverside Park in Vero Beach.
Sell now or sell later. We'll help you decide with a free home evaluation. I'm Chris Nolan with the Nolan Group of eXp Realty. We'll discuss your options, whether to refinance or how much you can get for your home. No commitment necessary. Visit nolanshow.com.
Too many options can be overwhelming. When it comes to water treatment, Affordable Water makes it easy. Let Affordable Water explain it all, so you feel good about the water you're using for you and your family.
Affordable Water. It's time to call Easy Brew Coffee and Bottled Water Service and learn just how much you can save and how convenient it is to have your coffee and bottled water delivered right to your home or office. In addition to water coolers, Easy Brew offers individual bottles of water in 8 or 16-ounce bottles. No more lugging it home or dragging it into the office. Serving the Treasure Coast for over 2 decades, 2 letters, 1 simple name. Easy for Easy Brew. Visit e-zbrew.com or call 800-792-3285. Easy Brew.
Revive Vero Beach, located next to Anytime Fitness on Oslo Road and 27th Avenue, has everything you need to look and feel your best, including hormone replacement therapy, stem cell therapy, sexual wellness, weight loss, laser aesthetics, hair, tattoo, and skin spot removal, Botox and fillers, cryotherapy, comprehensive blood work, and everybody's favorite, ozone and IV therapy. Refresh, renew, and revitalize yourself at Revive today. Call 772-492-6607. A member of the iTex trading community. Your iTex dollars are welcome.
Welcome back to Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras, and I've been chatting with Wes Harvin. He is the president and an attorney and the owner of the Estate Trust and Elder Law Firm, which I forgot to mention beforehand that Michael Fowler is the founder, but there's been a change. You're the
There's
owner
been a change.
now. Tell
That's
us
right.
about that for a quick moment.
That's right.
Yeah.
Mike's still with us, but I've taken over the firm. Mm-hmm. So he and I work together, and between the two of us, I think we have, when it comes to his estate and elder law experience, 55, 60 years worth of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's a pretty good shop.
Very good. Wonderful. And then another thing is for people that are able to watch this, they can see all of your information on the screen. But for those that are listening on iHeartRadio and the 7 podcasts that we're on, how do they get in touch with you?
Please feel free to check out our website at www.etelf.com, or feel free to call us at 772-828-2588.
Very good. And you have offices. Your main office is in Fort Pierce.
Main office.
But it's nice because you're also in Vero Beach, PSL, Stewart, and Okeechobee.
That's right.
Wow.
That's
Very
right.
good.
Yep.
Okay.
Full service across the Treasure Coast.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's go back into the trusts a little bit, because before the break, we were talking about, as people are younger, starting out, the importance of getting trusts put into place. But then as people age, more money comes into play, maybe health issues, divorces, remarriages, all sorts of things.
That's right.
So what happens if the estate changes, and therefore the trust has to be reviewed? How often should that take place?
That's a good question. It should definitely take place. We find every 5 to 10 years.
Okay.
Circumstances change, family members grow and change, and you're right. The assets of the estate do change. And also the law changes, even if everything is just static with the family.
Okay.
In D.C. they're always changing this and that. So
They have a tendency to do that.
a little bit. So it's always a good idea to touch base with us, because almost everything we do can always be changed by you.
Okay.
Always. And we can always make sure that we can take into account the most recent family situations or your preferences or whatever it may be. And we do that because almost everything we do is called a revocable or revocable trust.
Okay. So there's only a few instances where an irrevocable trust would come into play, and that would have to be applied very carefully and very thoughtfully.
Very carefully. That's right.
Okay.
They are appropriate and helpful sometimes, but the great majority of things that we do are fully within the control of the person for so long as they want it.
Very good. So I'm going to get into, I do want to talk about senior exploitation and a few other things to go kind of like a little deep dive, but I just making sure with time, I want you to go down a rundown of the different services that you offer at your law firm.
Sure. Well, our most common service is to set up someone's will and trust. And also, as we talked about before, their health care surrogate and power of attorney.
Okay.
Oftentimes we couple that with a living will, which is not a will at all, but that's the term that we use for someone to set forth their end-of-life preferences.
Okay.
That's very common. On the other side of that, if there has been a passing, we do full trust and probate administration. And at that point in time, our job is to do whatever you said our job is to do. Our job there is to make sure that your final wishes are set forth for your family.
Okay.
A large part of our practice has been with assisting people to get their government benefits, either in the VA arena, Veterans Administration, or with Medicaid. That is a difficult and scary area for a lot of people, but it's very approachable.
Okay.
And we see people almost every day, if not several times a day, talking about, what can I do? When can I do it? How can I make sure that I don't have everything I've worked for in my life taken away by my healthcare expenses?
Absolutely. And then all you have to do, if you want to have fun in confusing yourself entirely, go and read about Medicaid and the different rules and how it applies. And within 5 minutes, you're waving the white flag and then calling you.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's getting more so.
Yeah.
That's a quickly changing area of law, but it's one that we can approach in a methodical way. And I'm happy to say that the firm has a 100% placement rating with Medicaid. We've never failed a client.
That's great.
And yes, and thank you. And never failed a client or failed to get them on the proper timetable.
Okay.
That's a real point of pride. But so to finish up on the areas of practice, the last thing I'll say is, unfortunately, senior exploitation is becoming in defense of seniors who are being exploited.
Yeah, let's talk about this. We have a couple of minutes left, so yeah.
Well, it's a growing area of concern, and let me be very clear. I'm not talking about suing anybody in a nursing home or slip and fall. That's not what I'm talking about. There are other law firms that do that sort of thing. We're talking about the kind of unfortunate circumstance that arises when someone thought that mom or dad had a nice little nest egg, and then they found out that all of a sudden the neighbor got $400,000, or the guy that cleans the pool, or someone outside the family who saw a vulnerability and decided to exploit it. Florida has some of the best and most protective laws in the nation to help our seniors. But they can only help if the family comes forward and says, what happened? Where did the money go? And how come my mom or dad used to be able to take care of themselves and get the home health care, for example, they needed? But now they're struggling. What happened?
Yeah.
Well, we find out what happened, one way or another.
And is it about you have forensic accountants to go in and dive into that and such?
We work with the St. Lucie County or Martin or Palm Beach County Sheriff's Department. They have senior exploitation specialists. We can use all the power of the court and contempt powers to gain financial records and to find out if someone was, quote unquote, given the money when they shouldn't have been, and it wasn't really a gift, it was exploitation. We examine medical records to see if perhaps our senior was not fully themselves for whatever reason, either organic or medicinal. If they were not in their right minds, people can strike. Well, we can strike back.
That's even scary because maybe they can temporarily render them incapable, maybe giving them some sort of medication where they're agreeable and they'll maybe sign a document that they shouldn't, and then they get out of that whatever leaves their system, but now they have no recollection that they signed such a document. That's scary. Can that happen?
That definitely can.
Okay.
That definitely can happen. It's it's usually somebody that the senior knows and that the family doesn't.
Okay.
Because a lot of our friends down here, they have nice little homes down here, but their kids are in Connecticut or Maryland, and they're as involved as they can be, but who can know everything from up there?
Yeah.
And then they get unpleasant surprises. But we have a lot of options, a lot of tools that can help if we're allowed to help, if the family allows us to come in.
Yeah.
And to find out what happened. And hey, maybe it was all legit. Maybe grandma just wanted to give the guy that mows the lawn $100,000. And you know what? God bless him if that's the case. But not all the time.
Yeah. And sometimes it could be a family member too, unfortunately.
It could.
And what happens if that's the case? That's very emotional.
That is an unpleasant circumstance.
Yeah.
And there are laws and cases where the oldest daughter was given all the money just to, quote unquote, help out with the bills. And then when mom passes away, the other kids say that was for all of us. And the oldest daughter says, well, talk to my voicemail.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Wow.
Yeah. So it can be an ugly area of law, but it's one that can really, really help out the kids and the family to do what mom or dad really wanted before things took a turn.
Well, very good. We're going to have to end it here because we're almost at the end of the show. But thank you so much for coming in, because I know that people do need you, and I do encourage them to give you a call at the Estate Trust and Elder Law Firm. My name is Ellen Contreras. I am the host of Treasure Coast Connector. I hope everyone has a safe, wonderful, productive week. Until next week, I miss you already.